So before we start going into like the kind of like the theory around Theta healing, I would like to tell you a little bit how it started. So the creator of Theta healing, the creator, we use the word creator for everything in Theta healing, which is like means God or the experience of all that is. But the creator, the human creator of Theta healing is called Vajana Stuyvel. And she's still alive. She's the one who is giving the trainings for people who want to train others. So I did trainings with her a long time ago. And so basically Theta healing started like about 23 or 24 years ago already. And it came through, like, she was kind of like channeling the technique more or less. But then she was attracting a lot of doctors and how do you say, scientists. So that's how it got to like, this is what is happening. And then she got like doctors saying, yeah, this is what's happening. So that's why it's a kind of like scientific approach to Theta healing as well. But mainly it was a channeled technique. And her story is quite, I feel inspiring, because she used to work in the, how do you say, she was a military in USA, and she had 3 kids. And then suddenly she felt like she had to change her life, and she started like going more into the healing world, and she was a naturopath, she was doing massage, but nothing to do with this type of healing. So it was something more earthy in a way. And then she got a cancer, and the doctors told her she had like about 3 months to live, and she had 3 kids. So she was looking for all types of therapies, and almost every healer was telling her the same. It's like, Vajana, no one can heal you unless you want to be healed. And this is like quite an answer that we get, like, okay, but I want to be healed, so what is happening? What is on the way? And that's when she started to do this kind of like inner search that we call in Theta healing the digging process, where you start digging into your subconscious mind to understand what is there that is creating whatever reality that we want to change. And by the time she was already doing a lot of psychic readings, but she was not really doing healings. She was more like people would come, and she already had this kind of like gift. So she was very psychic, so she could see things, but she was not like applying the healing itself. Sometimes we know that just a reading can be a healing because we become aware of something, but she was not applying healing. And then she had an experience with a friend that had like I think she broke her leg or something like this, and she tried like to do like a healing, and suddenly the leg was cured, and she was like, oh, there's something here. And I was like, but why can't I do it to myself? So that's when she started doing all this research, and suddenly she got healed. She healed herself like this, instantly. Is this word, does it exist? Yes. Yeah. Sometimes I try Portuguese words in English with the accent, and it goes. And after that, everything that she done with her, she started applying to other people. And because she was having amazing results, at some point her agenda was super busy, because she was healing people from cancers, HIV, all these sorts of diseases that we hear that there's no cure. So at some point you had to wait about 2 years to get an appointment with her. So that's when she started to think like, okay, so people who are searching for me, they don't have 2 years to wait. Most of them are dying. So is it possible that what I do is not because I'm gifted? For sure she is. But is it possible that I could train other people to do what I'm doing? So that's when she started kind of like channeling the Theta healing technique. And it was very slowly came very slowly in the beginning. In the beginning was only the basic DNA. She was teaching basic DNA for years, and then slowly she started like advancing the process, and now it's like huge. If you go to the Thetahealing website, there's like several different trainings, and so there's like trainings for relationships, for diseases, for all types of specific kind of branches, yes. Well, and for me, Theta Healing came about like 9 years ago, and it was just in a moment of my life where I was already working with therapy, already in the spiritual field. I was a psychologist, and then I started digging more into the Osho world, body, all this type of techniques, primal work, but I was dealing with an issue around money, very strong. Like it was really hard for me to receive money. So every time I had to like go to my clients and ask them to pay, I would like shake, and I would really put my price very low. There was a lot of things around money, and that's when I heard that Theta Healing could be a good, like step for me to jump into. But I was not really interested because I saw on the website and I was like, all these things of the vocabulary didn't attract me at all. It's like commands and downloads and all this stuff, like Google stuff for me. But then I was on holidays and I broke my ankle, and I was in Algarve. I'm from the north, but I was here in Algarve, and I was on the way to go to a festival that is called Andanças, which is basically to dance, and I was going to work there. But my ankle was twisted, so I couldn't walk. So I was here, I was stuck, and a friend of mine had told me like a week before that there were these teachers that they were coming from Israel, and they were passing by, and they would teach just one Theta Healing training, and then they would leave to Brazil. By the time I said I'm not interested, but then I had nothing to do. So I was like, I called her, Regine, and I was like, hey sister, is this Theta Healing training, is it body or, no, it's really boring. You're gonna be sitting all the day long. I was like, okay, then it's good for me. That's how I end up going to Theta Healing, and I'm so glad I went there because I was really fascinated. Like the basic DNA course, it's sometimes a little bit overwhelming because you learn a lot in 3 days, and then sometimes it's hard to integrate. It's like, okay, where do I? But it's just opened my mind to so many aspects, because it's kind of like, for me, Theta Healing is kind of like, it's not a lifestyle, but it's a way to perceive the world. It's not only about changing and healing beliefs, it's beyond that. You learn about the different levels of existence and consciousness, and it's beautiful. So I was really like, wow. And the truth is, after that, my relationship with money changed completely. And after that, I was already giving sessions, I was already practicing like all sorts of like different kind of modalities, but Theta Healing was the thing that kind of gave me the structure. And so I'm really passionate about it. I'm teaching less and less nowadays because I'm also putting a lot of my energy into another type of work that I really love, which is Tantra and sexuality. But I love what I do. It's really beautiful. So today I will explain a little bit of a few aspects that we always bring in Theta Healing for us to understand why we are working with Theta. Why is it called Theta Healing? Probably you already heard about the brain waves. So brain waves means like your brain throughout the day, it has different levels of activity. So when you are sleeping, there's less activity than when you are speaking. So I'm just gonna put them here. We have delta, we have theta, we have alpha. Probably you can't read, no? It's very light. You can read? Yes, I was like,
Yes,
yeah, I can't because I'm not with my glasses. It's already very light. I was like, they can't read. I don't know. So theta, there's delta, alpha, beta, and gamma. Just writing because then it's easy to follow. So basically we have these 5 brain waves which we go through every day. So delta brainwave is the one that we enter when we are in deep sleep. Deep sleep is not when we are dreaming, it's just when we are really like kaput. And then at some point during our sleep we have all the sleep cycles. When we have about like, if we sleep 8 hours, about like 5 cycles per night, where we go from theta to theta, from delta to theta, delta to theta. When we enter in theta is when we start dreaming. So every time we dream, there's a little bit more activity, because when we are in deep sleep, we are not dreaming, and we can see that. I see that with my 6 years old daughter, that I always see her sleeping, and I'm sort of like, okay, now she's in theta. I can see her eyes like doing this. When they are the kids, also us, when we see people more agitated, it's because they are dreaming. We see that in animals as well, no? The dog's like, there's more activity, and then sometimes full kaput mode. And we need both. And then we have alpha, which is just before sleeping. There is a time where we really enter in a very relaxing stage. It's very subtle, the movement from alpha to theta. Sometimes if you practice, for instance, yoga, and you are in shavasana, no? The best time of the... there are times that you are in alpha, so you are very relaxed, but you are very conscious about everything that is happening. And at some point you feel like you are here, but you are already kind of sleeping. And if someone would measure your brain, you would probably be on theta already. If you meditate like very deep, you will enter in theta. But for most of us, like at least like for the common people, theta is a brainwave that they only access when they are sleeping. And what we know is that that's what we are lacking right now for us, for our health, is to enter in alpha and theta brainwaves while we are awake. There's also different kind of therapies. For instance, I have a friend who works with neurofeedback. He's also giving sessions sometimes here in Algezu. And the only thing that he does is to train your brain how to enter in theta and alpha brainwaves. It helps people who have like depression, anxiety. It's how to train our brain to calm down. And then we have beta, and then we have gamma. So just a question for you. Who do you think that right now is doing more, has more brain activity? Me or you guys?
You.
Probably us.
Yeah.
Why is that?
Because we are paying attention plus looking at everything. And
you have to, because you are learning.
Yeah.
So learning is one of the processes that demands more brain activity. So gamma is the one. Beta is when I'm communicating and I'm thinking. But every time you have to learn, it's like I'm saying things that you're probably saying, oh, this is I already know. Oh, I heard this from Joe Dispenza. Or this doesn't make sense. So there's a lot of things that are going on in your brain if you are learning something new. Or not new, but you have to combine with everything that you already know. And for me, of course, there's a lot of brain activity, but it's less because I'm just saying something that I already said like 1,000 times. So I'm just repeating. And what happens is, you probably heard already about the law of attraction. Have you guys heard about that? And the emotional states. So it's basically the law of attraction says that we attract the same vibration where we are at. And we all experience that, somehow in our lives. When you go out of you start your day with a bad mood and everything goes bad. And then you're like, oh fuck, I have to change my mood. And then suddenly everything changes as well, follows your rhythm. So it's a little bit like this. And the thing is, the law of attraction is a little bit kind of like unfair, because it's also saying like, if you grew up, without love, you never experienced love in your life, or if you grew up poor, if you grew up, you know, like lacking love, money, abundance, how will you attract something that you never experienced? Mm? So that's why people who are rich will always get richer. There's this saying, no? It's easier to get richer if you are already rich because you already have the mindset of a rich person. But we know we can change that. What?
And because of capitalism.
As well. But then you see people who are really poor, and then they change. They become like so. And I'm not only talking about money, but also about love. You know, this thing of like, I always attract this type of men. They never want to commit. They always leave me, or the other way around. You know, like, it's kind of like we enter in a pattern. There's always, we can experience that in our lives, that some things, they feel that they are always the same. So that's why it's beautiful to play with changing patterns. And sometimes I get, like, I love the world of healing. It's my path. I love to be here. I love to explore patterns and blocks. But sometimes I feel that it can go a little bit, how can I say? It's like people get addicted to this. In a way of like, there's something always, everything is wrong in my life and I have to change everything. And my perspective is more like patterns, they are here to be seen. And some of them, like I see for myself, I have been doing these things for years. I still have a lot of patterns and beliefs. And it's not that they're gonna change totally forever, but you become more aware of them, and you have more space. And like what I wish for myself and for others is that we can enjoy this kind of like game of changing patterns, and we don't get, because I saw a lot in Theta Healing, because Theta Healing comes with this big sentence, you know, like the technique, the most powerful technique to change your blocking beliefs. So people get really stuck with the blocking beliefs. And I remember being in trainings where people say, how many beliefs do you still have? I was like, I have all of them, you know, like, I still have, so there was kind of these, you know, people, and I feel it goes beyond that. There is something that Theta Healing brought to my kind of like self-development journey that really changed the way I was perceiving everything, which was in all the stories that we have. And you know, maybe I have a pattern, or I don't know, I always feel rejected, or I always feel people take my time, or whatever. There's always a learning. And when I saw that, like, I remember as a young child, I used to go on holidays with my parents and their friends, and they had all kids, but they were a little bit older than me, which when you are 6, 7 years old, makes a huge difference. They don't play with you. So they were always trying to run away from me because I was a pain in the ass. I was a little girl that didn't know how to eat, and you know, these kind of things. So I felt a lot of rejection for years. It was always like, I want to play with them, and they want to play with me. And my mother, sometimes when she talks about this, like, it was so painful for me to see you, because I would come home and I would cry. It was very painful. And I remember this was something that I was carrying for a long time in my life. And then in Theta Healing, I saw how much this gave me the sensibility to be really aware of, like in groups. And I always did that in my teenage time, when someone new would come to my class and the other kids would kind of like reject them, I would be the one that would include the person. And when I saw that, like, maybe I would have this sensibility if I didn't have gone through that, but I don't know. The truth is, this gave me a beautiful learning that made me improve a beautiful quality to be a better person in this world. So it's like, I feel in all the things that we experience, we also get we get like a learning and a possibility to develop something beautiful. This is what I love, to kind of, every time we do the digging process in Theta Healing, we always end up like seeing also like, what is the biggest learning that we have from this experience. And this is for me when we kind of like are able to really let go of the pattern somehow, because the pattern will stay till I learn what I'm here to learn as a soul. This is what I believe. Well, and then just out of curiosity, what they realize is that every time there is a healing, if you measure the brain wave, when there is the instant healing, the person will be in theta and gamma at the same time. And this is very rare. We never experience that in life. We are never in theta and gamma at the same time. But every time we do a healing, so a change, like a huge change in our system, theta and gamma brainwave will be together. Doesn't mean so much, but just out of curiosity. So, why am I speaking about theta? Theta leads us to dreams, and dreams usually are content that comes from our subconscious mind. And in Theta Healing we are always working. I forgot to take okay. Usually I have something. We are always working with the subconscious level. Do you guys see where I put my...
You should. The pen.
You noticed that? Oh no. I will never... Okay, so again, you probably saw already this picture many times, the iceberg one. You know the imagined iceberg?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. So basically this is our rational mind. Mm-hmm. And this is the subconscious. It is said, and every year it is changing. Right now, they talk about. So basically, what people are starting to realize is that everything that happens in our life is a reflection of only 8% of what we rationally decide. And the rest is what our subconscious mind is projecting. So you know when you say, I want to find a job, I need a job, but your subconscious mind is totally against it, you're not going to find a job. Because on the way to find a job, you're going to sabotage yourself many times. You're going to get sick when you get the interview. You know, all this stuff that happens that you think, oh, you got late. Suddenly something happened and you arrived late at the interview because your subconscious mind is not aligned with what your rational mind wants. And so at some point, like once you start practicing Theta Healing, you're going to get a little bit, I got really addicted to that. Like, okay, this is not happening. Subconscious mind, what is there? You know, like everything that doesn't happen in my life is because and I do believe that we are co-creating everything in our lives. And so the tool that we learn in Theta Healing, the digging process, is a really chirurgical way of really going deep into your system and understanding why are you sabotaging yourself to whatever you want to experience, even a disease. So I'm just going to give you an example. There's so many examples that we can explore in Theta Healing, but my specific example, like 3 years ago, I was still living in Porto, and I had, back then in time, my daughter had 3 years old, I was working like a manic. I was really workaholic, and I was full on mom as well. So basically I was not sleeping, I was not stopping for anything, not so much time for pleasure, because I thought work is my pleasure and my daughter as well. But I was really pushing myself to the limit. And I was kind of enjoying, but I was exhausted as well. So then suddenly, just like that, I started having like really strong symptoms of full-on diarrhea, vomits, and I in 1 month I lost like 6 kilos. I couldn't go out of the bed, and then I ended up going to the hospital several times, and I had like a pre-diagnosis because I didn't do everything, all the tests. But once the doctor called me and he said, okay, you have to come. You probably have Crohn's disease. I don't know if you've heard about Crohn's disease, but it's quite a hard one. And once I heard it was Crohn, he called me and he said that and said, I want to see you tomorrow at 8 a.m. here. And I was, shit, what is Crohn's disease? I didn't know what Crohn's disease was. Like, so I went to the internet and I saw, okay, Crohn's disease is like, it's just gonna get worse and worse, and then you will end up in the hospital, maybe forever, all this stuff, and you know, all these things that you shouldn't read the internet at all. But I was like, oh my god. And I was like, okay, Thetahealing. And there is this book. I just brought this book here because sometimes maybe at the end, if you want to if you have something like, oh, I have acne, or I have herpes, or whatever, you can, this is a really cool book of Thetahealing. I don't have to sell, I don't want to sell, but you can have a little exploration here. And it's like a Bible of diseases, where you see, and then you see usually which type of blocking beliefs the person has, and patterns to attract this disease.
Yeah.
So back then in time, I didn't have my book at home. It was in my mother's place. So I called her, please open Crohn's disease and read it to me. And then there was, of course, workaholic. There's the pattern of being a workaholic and super perfectionist, and you know, the fear of letting go and all this stuff that I was experiencing in my life. I was like, oh my God, where is this coming from? So I did what we call the self-digging process. So usually we learn how to do digging for others, but also to ourselves. And I realized where this was coming from. So like, I saw my little child, my little inner child, like actually my child from my childhood, always trying to, you know, like in order to receive love and approval from my mother, I had to be super, like I had to be the best. So I had always to do things. So I saw this pattern of pushing myself to the limit, which I still have. It's still on, but it changed a lot since then. So when I saw that, and suddenly I realized I could let go of this in the intensity that it was, at the end of this self-healing, I felt for myself, I'm healed. The symptoms were gone. Back then, I couldn't even stand. And suddenly, I felt, okay, tomorrow I'm going to the doctor, and I was back then with my boyfriend, father from my daughter, and he said, okay, I'm gonna bring you. I said, I don't need it, I can go. And I had to drive 40 minutes, which was impossible like in the days before. And I went to the hospital, and the doctor said, okay, I'm gonna give you an antibiotic for you to take, 2, for 15 days. And I'm really scared with antibiotics because I always get sick after taking them. So I was like, 2, can you give me 1? He was like, come on, you are dying. Like, you're gonna take the 2 for 15 days. And I was like, I guess I'm feeling that I'm healed already. He was like, come on, don't play with me. Like, I see your blood test results, you are dying. It's like, it's really hardcore right now. And I went out, and I was like, I went to the pharmacy, I bought the pills. Oh my God, I'm not gonna take them because I'm sure I'm healed. And I'm not gonna tell you to do that. But just like, because sometimes I have to take really strong pills, but back then I really felt like something had changed. So I bought the pills, and I said, okay, let's see if the symptoms were really gone. I will see like every day, and if they come, I will take the pills. But since then, I never had any symptom again. Boom, kaput. And what I see, it's like, and I never did any diagnosis again. People always tell me, you have to go there and to do the other exam, which is colonoscopy, which is a little bit invasive. That's why I didn't choose to do. And for me, it's like, I'm not sure if I have Crohn's disease or not. But the truth is, every time I feel a slightly like feeling of uncomfortable feeling in my belly, I know I need to stop. So it's like illness was helping me to kind of like giving attention to my body back. And after that, my life changed completely. I came to Al Jazur. I'm working half of the time that I used to work before. I prioritize pleasure, like beyond everything. It's like not to be on everything, but it's like I always go to the beach. At least once a day I need to see the water. Once a day I have to do something for myself. And I would never do that before. You know, it's like living here in Algesur, having this kind of like lifestyle which is much more healthy and much more in tune with what I need. So I'm just telling you about this story because what I feel is like all the things that happen to us, even like really strong illnesses, they are such an amazing opportunity for us to change. If we see what's beyond that. And my subconscious mind was just telling me, please stop and enjoy life. Not only working, you know, like do other stuff, I need that. So in order to see that, we have to enter in a different state of mind. Because if you ask me, why are you ill? I have no clue. You have to speak directly to my subconscious mind. And the only way to enter in communication with your subconscious mind is if we guide you into the Theta brainwave. So basically a session of Theta healing or a self-session with Theta healing is we bring you into the Theta brainwave, which is what hypnosis does as well. And there we open the space. It's like, yeah, we open the doors of the subconscious level. That's probably what you experience. I don't know how was your session, but it's suddenly, a lot of people come to me and they say, I don't remember anything about my childhood because we always go back to the childhood time. I don't remember anything. I say, don't worry, you will remember. Most of the times people will remember because once they drop all the defenses from the rational mind, suddenly all the information starts coming. And so that's why we enter in Theta. And also because when you enter in the Theta brainwave, it's kind of like as if your energy, so when we are speaking about the law of attraction, when we are speaking about the law of attraction, we say this, no? Like we attract the same vibration where we are. When you enter in Theta, you go beyond any emotion. Usually it's this type of emotions, like if you are really angry or if you are like very anxious, it's really hard to sit and meditate. It's impossible to be in Theta and be angry at the same time. It doesn't happen. And it's not that being angry is bad or not, but if you are dealing with emotions, probably you won't be able to go to Theta. That's why I also love the work of Osho as a pioneer in this field of like, you know guys, for you guys to meditate in this modern world, you need to shake it out first. You need to dance, you need to jump, you need to scream, you need to shout. And that's a different type of approach than the conventional, traditional ways of, you know, like spirituality we're doing, where you sit and you pray. We have so many things going on right now that we need to shake it out. So sometimes we need that way, and sometimes just the practice of it's like sitting and meditating is enough. But I know for myself, I practice meditation quite a lot, and sometimes it's like I sit and I'm trying, I'm like opening the space for meditation, and I'm just like, so I need to shake it out. I need to you know, to hit some pillows, to do something in order to really be able to stop and let go. It's kind of like what yoga does as well. It's really different to sit and meditate after you're doing the whole practice of yoga or before, because you really move the body, so you moved a lot of blockages that are in your system. But once you reach that state of Theta, you go beyond this this level of emotions that usually drop you down in terms of vibration. So, if we imagine like a cancer or a tumor, someone has a cancer or a tumor in the system, and we want to take it out. If we see the person as a body, the tumor as something like a material thing, it's impossible to take it out unless we do like a surgery, yes? In Theta, we learn to see things as energy. And when we perceive everything as energy, which is what's real, but we need to perceive things as like, there is you, there is you, there is me. We don't see energy unless we really tap into this field of theta, where suddenly we start feeling the energy of each other's. Unless we see things as energy, it's impossible to move things, or it takes longer. But once we start perceiving things as energy, the shift is quicker. So in Theta Healing, we start with beliefs, which for most of us is more like possible. Okay, we're just changing the belief. This is what we do when I say, okay, you give me permission to take this belief and to download it with something else, and you suddenly feel like something in your brain shifting. This is the shift of energy of a pattern. But Theta Healing is also being applied to other things. It's like, taking a tumor out of your system and suddenly there's nothing there. Or I remember when I came back from my first Theta Healing class, I was in this state of like, everything is possible. Everything. So I was testing everything, and I was so sure that everything was possible that there was a little bit of arrogance as well. But the universe kind of gave me like a month of like, yeah, everything is possible. So I remember coming to my mother's place and she's like, I don't know what's going on, all the lights are, because she was having problems with the lights, they were not working. I was like, stop. And suddenly everything was working, like all the lights were on. I'm like, wow. Then the car of my boyfriend went down, no battery, and he was like, I need to find the cables. I was like, stop. And then suddenly the car was working again for a month. Then it stopped. Then it was like, now do the work. But yeah, so we can also play with this stuff. It goes beyond changing beliefs. And one thing that I actually find very funny is like, a lot of people believe that they always have a parking place waiting for them. Some people really believe in that. I see like Philippe always say like, in Arifana, I always have a spot, and he always gets a spot. For me, it's like sometimes yes, sometimes no. He always believes in that, and it happens. And what Vianna says is it takes the same energy to manifest a car parking place than $1 million in your bank account. It's the same energy. The only thing is that you find that it's possible to manifest a car parking place, and it's not possible to manifest $1 million like this. And for some people, they do believe. So that's why we work with blocking beliefs as a way to kind of like expand, because if they are blocking, it's like we can't see everything. We only have a perspective of the world, and we want to give more perspective. So now I'm going to tell you a little bit about the blocking beliefs. Which is something also that we explore a lot in the basic DNA course, which is, so we have 4 levels of beliefs. This is really cool. So we have the basic level, we have the genetic, we have the historical, and we have the soul level. So these 4 levels of beliefs, and we can have one belief that is coming from all levels, means the source of the belief that we have. Like a blocking belief would be like, a limiting belief would be, money is evil. Okay, rationally we can maybe agree with that somehow, but is it helpful for us to really believe that money is evil? Is it really money the problem, or is it the ones who are running the money that are creating the problem? So if we are dealing with money, it will be limiting to have this belief, because I will always avoid money in my life. or oh, men are all the same. They will always, I don't know, what do men do? It shouldn't be me saying. But you know, these kind of beliefs that we have. Some are cultural, some are beliefs that we created in our childhood. So the basic one are beliefs that we develop throughout our childhood. And it is said that the first 7 years of our life are the 7 years where we really create the kind of like our personality, the identity, and all the beliefs that we have around the perspective that we have around for everything and how we experience life itself. And so when we are working with Theta Healing, we mainly go to our childhood. Almost all the beliefs, they start there. But sometimes we have beliefs, but we can't not really like relate to something from our childhood. I remember doing Bom dia, bem-vinda. So, for example, as I said, like in Theta Healing, there are like different kind of trainings, and there is one which is for relationships. And I was doing this training of relationships, and I had so many beliefs that I never experienced that in my life. And there was one that really paid my attention, which was like, and back then I was with the father of my daughter, so I was with him. And then there was this belief of like, my husband will always reject my child from the previous marriage. I was like, but how is that possible? I never experienced that. But this is a genetic belief, because this was happening to my mom, to my whatever, so it was in my ancestor lineage. So sometimes we carry beliefs from our ancestors. Okay, this is something that is also, for example, when we work with family constellation, it's really cool to work with genetic beliefs. And then we have historical beliefs. Historical beliefs are beliefs that are related to the culture where we live, and also to, so there is this, and it doesn't really matter if we believe in that or not, but the concept of a past life. So this also enters in historical beliefs. So in Theta Healing, sometimes we will guide you to the life of an ancestor, or we will guide you to a past life, or to a life of someone. Like, there's a lot of people that think that they were Cleopatra in a previous life. It's like, oh, all of them were. It's possible, we don't know. But for sure, there is information that we can kind of, like, we all grab from it. So, as a Portuguese person, and I also remember that when I went to Brazil, I was doing a more advanced Theta Healing training, which is anatomy. I don't remember the name, whatever. Something with anatomy, which is a 21-day training. And I went there, I'm Portuguese, but usually every time I'm around Brazilians, I speak Portuguese from Brazil. So I arrived there and no one knew that I was Portuguese. And for like, maybe one or two knew because we had a little bit of like conversation, but for the group, I was Brazilian. And then at some point, I think in the third or fourth day, they were speaking about, you know, like the Portuguese invasion and all this stuff. And I was like, usually I don't care because I don't feel this, oh my God, I'm carrying this burden of, but my subconscious feels. So they were speaking about Portuguese, and then suddenly someone said like, yeah, and they have fado, they are a sad country, they are always sad. And usually I don't carry this, like I'm always very light and I'm playful. And they were like, and I was like speaking to myself, no, we are not, like I'm not Portuguese, like this was my brain. And suddenly I started having like a lot of headache in my brain. And for 2 weeks during this training, I couldn't stand up. I don't know what was happening. I went to the doctor and he said, this is in a place in Brazil. It's a place where you have more Theta healers per square meter. So even the doctor is a Theta healer. So he said, okay, you are doing a Theta healing training. don't worry, continue, there's nothing wrong. But I couldn't sit because my brain felt like it was exploding. I could feel it as if I had like crystals doing like. So what happened was like for 2 weeks in this training, I was like this. Like this. So this kind of like the heavy Portuguese that is always said. And I was like this. Everybody was dancing. I was like, fuck. I was really experiencing that. And then every day we do sessions, we receive and we give, and every day this was coming for me. Like, because I couldn't deal with the fact of like having this historical baggage, and of this heaviness and sadness, and it was like a really breakthrough, because after that I was more and more able to accept this side of myself, which sometimes is, it's just like this. But it's something historical that I was carrying. And then, beyond these 3 levels, we have the soul level. And this is not something that Theta Healing teaches in that way, but it's, after all these years working with people and with myself, it's something that I realize more and more, which is like the soul level is kind of like the part that chooses which type of childhood you want to have, which type of kind of like beliefs of basic genetic and historical you will have in order to become whatever you want to be, to explore as a soul. And this is something just that I believe and makes a lot of sense in the session. It's like once you realize, like, why did I choose a father who was always beating me? Beating? Mm-hmm. And then you realize how an amazing mom or father you are. Like I experienced that, and now, this became my path. Maybe I'm teaching parents how to deal with children without aggression or without, it's like. So I'm really passionate about the soul level, because I feel this is what brings sense to the whole thing. Otherwise it's like, oh my God, we really have all these heavy stories in our life for what? And I'm speaking like crazy. I don't know if you have any question now in the meantime, or anything that you want to share. We also have time for that. But so in order to get into these levels, we need to bring the person to Theta. Otherwise, it's just our rational mind telling us, like, I remember the first time someone asked me, like in therapy, how was my childhood? I was like, it was amazing. My parents were amazing. They were giving me everything. Like, actually, my teachers were the problem. It was like, okay, who chose your teachers for you, And so it's like in my rational mind, I could not really remember everything, and only when I started doing this type of like deeper work, I understood like, oh, how much kind of like conditions I got through, this journey in my childhood with my parents and family, and like the cultural thing. So I would like to maybe bring you all to Theta before we move on a little bit. We still have a little bit of time. So to kind of like experience what Theta is. But I guess all of you already experienced that in your life, because if you meditate, or if you surf, if you do something that kind of like brings you to like a different, how do you say? I see like people who do a lot of like sports, like intense sports, they experience the same level of, it's like a no mind state, where you are, it's like you go beyond your mind. And this is what we need to do, to go beyond the rational mind if we want to change what is blocking the rational mind. Okay? So, there are many ways to get into Theta, as we have been talking already. And what Vianne understood was that it's actually pretty simple. We can do like huge rituals. We can, you know, like light a candle. We can do on a temazcal. We can do so many things. But basically, it's just getting in tune with ourselves again. And so she created a very simple guided meditation, which for me in the beginning was a bit hard because I never liked a guiding meditation. It would bring me a lot to my head, so it was very rational. But for some reason, this meditation really worked with myself. Like, so I think it's also gonna work with you. And what it does is basically, because the way we will guide you, you will feel that your consciousness will move up from your system. This is what we are doing. And once you go up, just imagining like your consciousness moving up, at some point you drop kind of like the identity and the body, and you enter in that state. And usually in Theta Healing we learn to do that in a 1 minute guided meditation. I'm gonna take a little bit longer today with you, so that you can also kind of like follow each step. But usually it's something that we do like boom, very fast. We can do longer, but what Vaiana says is like when we do faster, we don't give enough time to the brain to kind of like, why is she asking me to look at this color? Or why is it like this? No? So it's kind of, so some of you will feel that it's too fast, and some of you will feel that it was actually too slow. It's funny how different people are. No? Some people are like, oh my god, it was so fast. People are also, but I'm gonna do it slowly compared to what we do in Theta Healing usually. Just when you did the session, were you guided into Theta? You don't remember?
I don't remember.
You don't remember? Because, yeah, I just want to bring this up as well because it's really beautiful. In Theta Healing, usually, we don't guide the client. So, in hypnosis, we guide the person to enter in Theta. In Theta Healing, we don't need to guide. Why? Because we, as a therapist, we need to be in Theta. And what Vaiana discovered was like once you enter in that brainwave, we are talking about brainwaves, but we can also talk about I'm always forgetting about this frequency. Yes, vibration. So once you hold this vibration in yourself, you will, because of the tone of your voice, the energy that you are emanating, you will create a space for the system of the client to relax, and suddenly the person will enter into Theta without even noticing. She doesn't have to force anything, just because the way that you are speaking and the energy that you are emanating. So this is also really cool.
And what do we do then?
Huh?
And what do we do then once we are there?
In Theta today?
Yeah, or in general, what
That's the
what
thing.
and how and
Well, just by entering there, like you will see, like if you practice meditation every day, you will feel like how much your life will change, because you are giving a time that you never give in your life to really center yourself again, beyond the identity and all the dramas and blah 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 that there's around. So I feel that this is one thing, and then people are nowadays kind of like meditating to change beliefs, which is like, it's also a path, but it's like for me, like what I feel that we really need as human beings is like to come back to this state of no mind state. But once you practice that, you can also apply it for different things. For example, you are going to Alecrim to leave your kid, and then you are like, oh, but the parking will be full, I need a place. So you enter in Theta before and you just see the place and it will go faster. So it's also like the place where you can manifest things without the kind of like how do you say, the blockages, the sabotages that we have in our subconscious mind. And what I see for myself is like every time I'm in Theta and then I remember, okay, so I'm giving this retreat or I'm giving this course and I want to manifest people for the course or whatever. When I do that in Theta, if there is a blocking belief that is on the way, I will see it very quickly. It's like, oh no, you don't really want that. You think you want it rationally, but just see. If it happens, you can't go on holiday or. So it's also like when you drop the kind of like rational mind, and you can access all the things that are going on in your submundo. How is that? Subworld.
Subworld.
Subworld. So we can do everything there. Okay, guys. So we have this background of. Sometimes I think that people talking in the house, and it's like, oh, he's talking. So I'm gonna invite you all just to close your eyes for a moment, and you will need that. I also like to. We don't agree with each other in this aspect, but I believe we can meditate in any position, even when we are laying down. But it helps, of course, to sit kind of comfortably, but comfortable, in a comfortable position, and with your spine erect, straight, and with your feet. You can put your feet. For this meditation, I like to put my feet on the ground, because we are going on a journey down to the earth, and then we're gonna bring the energy back from our feet. So it's easier to follow the journey if we have our feet on the ground. If we are doing like a handstand, it's gonna be messy in our brain. But the truth is, we can meditate, like as Osho said, in the market center. Like, this is what we are supposed to do as human beings here, but we forgot that. So sometimes we need silence in order to start. And then at some point it gets more like, oh, I'm in the car and I enter this state. But first we need to kind of like take everything away. So it helps to have our body like this. And if you are like this, it's easier to just to fall asleep, of course, but at some point. Okay? So... No. She was asking me, do you think it's gonna take more than 20 minutes? As I said, this is a 1-minute meditation. And I'm gonna do it in 3. I'm gonna do it slowly compared to what we do usually. But it's gonna be fast anyway, so that then we also have time to... And I'm gonna leave you a little bit, but at some point I'm gonna say, okay, now in the Theta Healing training, it's really tiring, because I'm always guiding you, like for 3 days. I'm guiding you like, I don't know, 20 times. And then I guide you, and now open your eyes, and your eyes are like, no, now that I'm here. But this is what we train, is to how to enter in Theta and be super awake at the same time. Because in a session, you don't want to enter in Theta as a therapist, and then you are like this. It's a little bit creepy. So you have to be fully present and in Theta at the same time. This is what we are learning how to, which is beautiful if you can bring this aspect, this quality of fully presence and relaxation at the same time. It's really different the way we perceive life. We can be under a very active situation, and at the same time very relaxed. And sometimes I have to remember myself, because I have this tendency to really go like this. It's like, if I enter in Theta, even if I'm active, everything is much lighter and relaxing. And okay, guys, I'm gonna stop talking. No, I'm not. I'm gonna guide you. So yeah, inviting you all to close your eyes for a second. And before we start, just taking a moment to feel your body, the weight of your body sitting on this chair, on this sofa. Doing like a quick scan of any sensation that is alive. We are not judging or trying to change anything, just feeling for a moment. How is our body today? And just this question, maybe for some of you, it's quite like, oh, I can't really feel my body, and it's okay. Stay with the feeling, with not feeling. Just becoming aware of what it is right now. And then in a moment, I'm going to invite you to become more aware of your breath. How is your breath moving in your system right now? Noticing any inhalation, and every time you exhale. And now I invite you all to bring all your awareness to your heart center, the center of your chest. And we're going to do 3 deep, long breaths all together. And we're going to imagine that in every breath, in every inhalation, our chest will expand and open. And in every exhalation, our chest will relax deeply. So we're going to inhale from our nose and we're going to exhale through the mouth. So 1, 2, 3, we inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. And one more time, inhale. Exhale. And in this exhalation, you're going to start imagining that from the center of your heart, there is a beautiful light that will start going down, moving down from your chest, through your belly, through your legs, feet, till it reaches the ground where your feet are standing. And we'll continue going down, down through the earth, through the many layers of the earth, going down, 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 till it reaches the center of the earth. And at the center of the earth, you can imagine a little beautiful crystal in whatever color you can perceive it. And just imagine that with this light, you touch this beautiful crystal at the center of the earth. And once you do that, the light becomes bigger. And then slowly coming back again from the center of the earth. This beautiful and huge light now is going back through the many layers of the earth, coming back till it enters your feet. And you feel now this energy, this light of energy going up through your legs, through your belly, through your throat, through your face, till it reaches the top of your head. And at the top of your head, you're going to imagine that there is a beautiful ball of light waiting for you. And just take a moment to feel which color does this beautiful ball of light have for you today. And once I count till 3, you're going to imagine that you're going to jump into this ball of light. 1, 2, 3. You're going to jump into the ball of light. And you will go on a journey with this beautiful ball of light up through the sky. And you're going to start going up, up, up through the many layers of light, up through the sky. You're going to pass all the stars that you can imagine in the sky, continuing going up, up, up. And then you will see up in the sky a beautiful golden light that is calling you, and you will go through that light. And you will continue going up, up, up. And suddenly there is a kind of like a jelly-like substance with the colors of the rainbow. And you go through that substance. Go up, up, up. And then you will finally reach a beautiful portal. A white portal. That you will go through. And after this portal, there is only a beautiful place, fully white, waiting for you. And you can go inside of this place where everything is pure, white light. And you can slowly start opening your eyes. And once you do that, I also invite you to just notice if there is anything in this room that calls your attention. And if there is, just take a moment to feel what is that. Can be the book, whatever. What is the feeling that this thing is giving you right now? So for example, maybe you looked at the carpet and you felt like, it feels comfortable. Just take a moment to feel the sensation in your body. And this might be something that you are longing right now in your system to feel. Everyone looks a little bit stoned right now. Okay guys, welcome back. We did a little bit longer, but we still have 10 minutes. How are you feeling? How did you feel about the meditation? Was it too fast, too short, a lot of words? For some people it's like a lot of words also.
From the light, it was too short. It's like I want to be more in
Want
the
to
white
stay there.
light. It's like
And when I call you back, you're like, come
yeah.
on.
Oh no, open the eyes like so. But when I open the eyes, it's like, wow, the colors are stronger. The sensation from my environment is strong.
Beautiful. Because this is what gives us, we become more alive. We go out of our rational mind and we become more present. Beautiful. Anyone wants to share? How was the experience? Or maybe for you it was like, oh, really? Sometimes this happens. Everyone is like telling like, it was amazing, and I was like, I didn't feel nothing, which is also normal.
My body was tingling a little bit, which I know from like Reiki sessions and stuff. I always really like that kind of state. So it was just starting, just really like in the background, but I could feel like a tingling sensation in my fingers and my feet a little bit, and then like upwards my legs. And it was really nice. Yeah. Could have been longer, definitely.
Could be longer. And actually it can be. if we have more time, sometimes I can play, you know, like when I give, like the Thetahealing retreat, that we have a lot of time at some point, I do like a 1 hour meditation and people love it, but they are already used to do it in 1 minute. It's like, wow.
Yeah, for me, I often have a bit difficulties with these visualizations, and but I kind of just let go of like, oh, these thoughts, I cannot do it or no, and went with it, and yeah, it definitely did something with me. Like I got much warmer on my face and very relaxed. Yeah, it's yeah, it's interesting.
Thank you for sharing. You don't need all to share, just I always like to kind of like get a perspective. But there's also like another meditation that we only offer usually like in an advanced class, which is actually my favorite, but we always start with this one, which is instead of doing this, going down and then up, we expand. So it's like you feel your body and then you become one with like your body, the weight of your body, and then you feel the chair beyond you, and then you imagine that you and the chair, you become one, and then you do this to the ground, to the room, so you expand, and this is, I really love this meditation. For example, if I go to a shopping mall, I'm not doing this, but I just start to feel like I'm walking, and I start to do this, you know, I expand, and suddenly it's like, this heaviness that we feel that when we go through, you know, to a shopping mall where there's a lot of people, and suddenly I don't feel that when I do that. So we can play with it, but what I like about this meditation is it can be very quick. And once you learn the process and you kind of integrate what we are doing, you can let go of the colors and the rainbows and everything, and you just make the movement. Because at some point it's just about the movement, that our consciousness goes down, it connects to Mother Earth, and then it goes up, and suddenly something is different in your system. So it's a practice. These meditations, they are available in YouTube. If you search for Thetahealing meditation, I have in Portuguese in my YouTube channel, but I don't have in English. But there's like even Vienna guiding, which is beautiful to be guided by her. So you can access that till you kind of integrate the meditation. And yeah, and just to kind of like close this session, and why I choose these topics to talk, because as I said, it's a huge like world, Thetahealing. But it's like, if you understand how entering and meditating and entering in Theta can really change your life, this is the first step, I feel, to improve the way you are living your life, because it's really hard to change from the irrational point. And like, I studied psychology before going into this world, and it's always about, in Portugal, in Brazil there's more like, they go deeper into the subconscious mind, but here we don't. It's very rational. So it's always about trying to change the mindset, and it's an effort. It's like you're kind of like feeling that you're always fighting because there's something here that you don't understand, that is kind of sabotaging you. So we need more perspective, and I feel that meditation and Theta, whatever we want to call it, gives us this perspective, gives us the space to change. And even if we don't change, which I told you in the beginning, don't get like crazy, it's like I have to change all the beliefs, but even if we don't, we have more space to deal with the patterns. Oh, this is my pattern playing, but I'm not so identified with it, so there's not so much suffering around the stories and the traumas. Like, meditation gives us the space, and this is where everything is possible. There's also an amazing work, if you've never heard about him, if you like this topic, go and explore Joe Dispenza. Joe Dispenza is really like an amazing human being, but he has a lot of like, if you like the scientific approach, he has a lot of studies and books, and where he really goes deep into what we are doing here as well. It's very, very cool. So, is there anything that you would like to ask or share, or